You're watching Politics Today on Channels Television and still on the Kogi State governorship election. Indeed, so much to take in one day, and the discussion has also involved our correspondents on the ground in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital, Sheun Okimbaloye and Lanre Lasisi. Indeed, they did an overview of the atmosphere and the events that led up to, well, so much to take in one day. The governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Prince Abubakar Audu, dying on the day when INEC announced the results and then declared the result of that election inconclusive. So it's what you call a cliffhanger at the moment, so much uncertainty, and indeed we do not even have a date for the supplementary election announced yet. And the questions that are being raised at the moment is, now that the All Progressives Congress candidate is no more, then what will happen? Will there be a new candidate that the party would have to shop for? Or will the running mate step into the shoes of the late candidate? And if that does not happen, then, well, will the People's Democratic Party candidate emerge victor by default? Well, these are the different scenarios, these are the different questions, and these are definitely some of the topics that are being discussed, not just on air, but also out in the streets. Well, we also will be joined on the program by Mr. Dafe Akpede, an electoral monitor and a legal practitioner who will be giving us a legal perspective into the developments, and also as an election monitor giving us his own perspectives about what he has learned from the poll in itself. And so it is the Kogi State governorship election on Politics Today on Channels Television. Remember, earlier in the day, the electoral monitor, or the returning officer that is, Professor Emmanuel Kucha, did announce that, well, because of the difference in the results posted between the two leading candidates and the number of votes cast, then the election, according to the electoral law, has to be declared inconclusive at the moment. Well, now we're also being joined again by our correspondents on the ground in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital, Sheun Okimbaloye. Well, I understand they are not ready at the moment. And so let's take another look at some of the figures we are talking about now. The All Progressives Congress candidate, Prince Abubakar Audu, the late Prince Abubakar Audu, scored a total of 240,867 votes, while Governor Idris Wada of the People's Democratic Party polled 199,514 votes. Now, the difference between the two candidates, well, do the arithmetic, it's 41,313. Now, the total number of votes cancelled was 49,953. So going by the electoral law, when you have a situation where the number of votes that makes the difference between the two leading candidates is less than the number of votes cancelled, then the returning officer is mandated by the law to declare that particular result inconclusive. And so that was the news for the day, that the election in Kogi State, the governorship election in Kogi State, where the people went to the polls to elect a new governor or maybe retain the sitting governor, was declared inconclusive. Now, while that was yet sinking in, particularly the impending defeat of an incumbent, then the news now hit the whole town, the whole state, and probably the whole country like a bombshell. The candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Prince Abubakar Audu, was dead. And while that is yet sinking in, there are also talks about what the All Progressives Congress will do when faced with a situation like this. Will the party shop for a new candidate? Now, those odds are very long odds because the person who was running on the platform of the party had his own antecedents. He was a former governor of Kogi State, albeit on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, had to leave the party at some point to pitch his tent with the All Progressives Congress, or what has evolved into the All Progressives Congress. And so there must have been a groundswell of support for him, probably being the most marketable candidate for the APC in that state. And so where will the APC be looking to get another candidate to stand in the supplementary elections, which will be announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission at a later date? Or the other scenario would be, would the running mate of Prince Abubakar Audu step into his shoes? Well, will he be an equally marketable candidate, or will he not be sufficient? And if that's not the case, then who exactly will the party be shopping for to step into the shoes vacated by Prince Abubakar Audu? Well, it will also be interesting to find out what the Kogi State government, that's the government of the day in Kogi State, is saying about all this. What the People's Democratic Party, albeit the ruling party in the state, is saying about all this. Because one would have expected, as is characteristic of elections in Nigeria, that the losers would always seek litigation. But then in this case, no victor, no vanquished as far as the Independent National Electoral Commission is concerned. And so right now, to take a look at these issues and more, we return to Lokoja, the Kogi State capital, where, we'll be going to Abuja, point of correction. We'll be going to Abuja, where Mr. Dafe Akpedeye will be joining us. He is a legal practitioner and, of course, an election monitor. Well, thank you for joining us, Mr. Akpedeye.
Good evening.
A very good evening to you. Well, maybe for the people of Kogi State, it's not such a wonderful evening because the candidate of the APC is no more. And straight to the point, now that the All Progressives candidate, the All Progressives Congress candidate is dead, what will be the next step?
You just look at the regnant positions of the various laws. If you look at Section 178, subsection 3 of the Constitution, it does provide an inkling of what will happen in such circumstance, though not very much on the point. Perhaps the most regnant thing you will get on the point which comes closest to it, because nobody has an to you because Commissioner shall be satisfied of the debt contamined by the poll in which it election. In this situation, election has actually commenced and been declared inconclusive. Nobody has thought of a situation where this will happen before. So there's another of it, it will appear there's a problem of, at this point in time, substituting that candidate. Because we are in the battlefront, elections are more than halfway gone, results have been declared for 6 various local governments, and because some local governments have not been called or they have problems in them, we need to go back there to do the election. It's been declared inconclusive. This has not been anticipated, and this lacuna obviously has created some problems of which the other side want to take complete advantage of.
Well, that will be the next question I'll be asking now that this election has been declared inconclusive and the person running a close second might just be taking advantage of the situation. But how do you think they'll be cashing in on this? And I'm talking about the PDP.
The laws presently tweaked seem to be in their favor. It will appear in the absence of no provision saying when a candidate dies in the course of the election, it will appear nominations have closed. The APC will appear at this point in time, not sad as it is, not to have a valid candidate to continue with the process. If the election had been concluded and he had been declared as the candidate and the winner, then the different scenario, the issue of a deputy arises and all that. But the election was declared to be inconclusive, and nominations have closed, and there's not really a provision at which you can substitute at this point in time because polls have commenced. Clearly, the law as it is right now, the PDP will try to take complete advantage of it.
But then there's also a situation where logic would have to prevail, or common sense would have to prevail in this matter. And it's not just the candidate, but also the party itself. So what happens in a situation where the APC just shops for another candidate and says, hey, it's our election?
The challenge the APC is going to have, what ambit of the law, what provision will they be using to substitute the candidate? Because you see, this is the danger of when you laws are cast like this. Because nobody anticipates a situation like this, that actually in the course of election where voting has commenced, results have been declared, and a party who is a candidate in election dies. The challenge you're going to get, because the law has not provided for this, and you really can't be changing the rules in the middle of the game, it's a lacuna that the other side will obviously want to take advantage of. And really to stem off the start of having to have litigation over this, in my view, the easier way out would be follow the letter of the law. A chance of correct is going forward because we now know it can happen. But as it stands today, it will appear that the law does not favor a substitution.
Well, Mr. Akpede, just hold that thought because there is something else I need to ask you, and it's cast in one phrase. But we'll take a break now, and when we return, it's the Kogi State governorship election and the attendant issues on Politics Today, live on Channels Television.